Tonight, the latest social media viral content of feminizing male politicians is addressed by a political commentator. St. Lucia will have to confirm 50 cases of COVID-19 before the Ministry of Health rolls back on the reopening of the borders. And Carnival Tabanca. Revelers are promised a fix, but will have to cope with business as usual on what would have been Carnival Monday and Tuesday. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Loveless and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Thursday, the 16th of July, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News on Flow Channel 117 on Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and our Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Officials are optimistic that St. Lucia will successfully navigate Phase 5 of the COVID-19 response, which consists of reopening the tourism sector. Since the commencement of receiving international flights, 4 cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed. Many wonder, under what circumstances would the Ministry of Health be forced to close the borders and reinstate the national shutdown? There is a number that the Ministry of Health has settled on which would mandate a shutdown. That information was disclosed by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism when she appeared as a guest on the hot seat. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Donalyn Vite, was in the hot seat on Wednesday night. She revealed that the Ministry of Health has a threshold of 50 confirmed cases of COVID-19 to roll back on the reopening of the borders and the tourism sector. Vite says the focus for the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Tourism during this Phase 5 of COVID-19 response is to be prepared.
But we do not want a misconception on the 50 cases. The 50 cases, while it is a huge indicator for us to start retracting, it depends on how we have the 50 cases. So for example, if we have 50 cases and these cases are all in quarantine or isolation, then these 50 cases will not be as alarming as if they are in, for example, a community and they have community spread. So when we say the 50 cases, I don't want St. Lucians to feel, okay, aha, 50 cases, shut down.
With St. Lucia's borders now open to the U.S., there are serious concerns about travelers coming in, given that the U.S. is currently the epicenter of the COVID-19 virus. Vite was questioned by host Crystal Riviere about the ramifications of the worst-case scenario becoming a reality on island.
If there is a spike in the virus here in St. Lucia, is the Ministry of Tourism prepared for the backlash?
Okay, so when it comes to backlash, I would want to stay away from that word, because to get a backlash would mean that you're almost oblivion to what the controls are and you're continuing, and then, something happens and then, it's fault or blame. We are not operating in an environment of fault or blame when it comes to the resumption of tourism. What we are doing is to be prepared. So we've been saying to the public, don't panic, don't be in fear, but be prepared. The level of preparation that we're doing at the Ministry of Tourism and Health is not only for us as technical persons, neither for the health team and the persons who actually will be working at the hotel. The level of preparation has to happen throughout the island. So we have been saying to people, yes, we realize persons have laxed. We have all laxed in terms of the protocols, especially for the face masks in the public domain. But we are saying this is a time where we all need to have our heightened sense of alertness. We are asking persons, be prepared.
Vite also addressed the fate of the cruise tourism industry. It was the first sector marginalized by the onset of COVID-19, with cruise vessels being turned away from St. Lucia early on. She says while dialogue continues, a clear date for reopening is just not feasible at this time.
On the cruise side, the level of preparation is totally different. We have started some engagement with the cruise lines. We know that there is an intention for them to resume, but the level of preparation and discussion has to be a little more extended until we're able to see a cruise ship in our waters again for cruise tourism. So we are confident that it will resume, but we don't have a date at this time.
So far, St. Lucia has confirmed 23 cases of COVID-19. According to the Ministry of Health, 19 cases have fully recovered so far. The latest victim of violent crime is another woman. The young lady has been identified as 34-year-old Kanita St. Clair of Plateau Babonneau. She was allegedly attacked with a machete by a male family member. Lead Fire Officer Stacy Joseph gave the details of the incident.
Officers at the Babonneau Fire Station responded to a call on Wednesday, 15th July at approximately 8:28 p.m. at Plateau Babonneau. The information received stated that a female individual was physically assaulted with a sharp object. Arriving emergency personnel found the individual lying on her left side on the ground in the presence of police officers. An assessment of the patient revealed a laceration on her upper right arm. Her wound was bandaged and she was transferred to the ambulance where rapid transportation was given to the OKEU hospital. She remained in a stable condition en route to the hospital and was left in the care of a medical practitioner.
One concerned resident indicated that incidents of this nature are a rare occurrence in the community and has left community members traumatized. She is also calling for members of the public to exercise better conflict resolution strategies.
Well, this morning I was really shocked for me to hear what happened in our community in Plateau Babonneau, but a brother chopping his sister. It was really shocking because we never had these kind of things up in Plateau like before. So as we heard that, it came like a shock to us. Well, this morning I was really shocked for me to hear what happened in our community in Plateau Babonneau, but a brother chopping his sister. It was really shocking because we never had these kind of things up in Plateau like before. So as we heard that, it came like a shock to us.
The alleged perpetrator of the attack was reportedly taken to the mental wellness center by police, who deemed him to be of unsound mind. The weight of September is enough to give any parent anxiety, but this year's economic reality makes the thought of back-to-school preparations even more daunting. Parents are questioning whether the Ministry of Education is oblivious to the plight of thousands who have lost their jobs due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. They say this is because of the number of supplementary textbooks and optional items on some book lists, including gadgets like laptops. Hot 7 TV spoke with the Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, who sought to allay the anxiety of parents. While some schools stick to the book list as prescribed by the Ministry of Education, they are given the leeway to include supplementary textbooks that they think will aid with instruction of students. Many schools, particularly in the north, include supplementary and optional items on the book list. Given that many parents are facing a new reality of being laid off or out of work due to the unprecedented impact of COVID-19 on the economy, they question why supplementary textbooks were even allowed. The Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Kendall Kodra, says parents should not stress about the matter.
We have received reports from various persons with regard to whether they need to buy the supplementary optional items. There's a prescribed book list that the Ministry of Education puts out every year. And the schools are asked to go ahead with the prescribed book list, but they are allowed to add in any additional text. But these would be only supplementary and optional, and even recognizing a time like now, where, as you indicated, many persons would have lost their jobs. So we do appreciate and we understand the situation, and by no means it is not mandatory that parents buy any books, any additional books. We also got reports of laptops being put on the book list. And again, over the years, in fact, even prior to COVID, some schools have made requests for laptops because they understand that we are moving into that e-education era. And some of them have remained, but again, we want to indicate to the parents that this is really optional. It is not mandatory. So we do not want to put anybody in any financial strain at this time.
By virtue of the fact that optional or supplementary textbooks are on book lists, it adds pressure to parents who do not want their children to be disadvantaged when the school has made a request for additional material. So why didn't the Ministry of Education standardize the process by making it mandatory for all schools to only give out the prescribed book list, given the current economic realities for many St. Lucians?
The supplementary books have been there for as long as we are aware.
But we're under new circumstances.
Right? We're under new circumstances, and that is why we can take the opportunity to let the parents know, do not put yourselves under any additional pressure at this time. For us, your health and safety, we know the financial situations, and I would like to take the opportunity again to let them know that it is not mandatory. Do not put yourself under any unnecessary pressure at this time to gather the supplementary or optional text.
Meanwhile, some parents have also raised alarm that they are not able to reuse books because they are not on this year's book list. Kodra says while a book review was supposed to have taken place this year, it was in fact shelved and all books should remain the same.
There's a book review that takes place every 3 to 5 years. And we do recognize, again, even in a time like this, we are really due for a book review. But considering the current situation that we are on, and we know parents pass on books from one child to the next, or they get from their neighbors or their cousins or whatever, their family members, and considering the situation as it stands, we have taken a position to put this book review on a pause for now.
He says cases where parents are noting differences will be looked into by the Ministry of Education to address any potential errors. Now on the lighter side, social media has been flooded with photos portraying female depictions of the nation's leaders created with makeover apps. While some see the action as degrading towards the men, talk show host Claudius Francis says they ought to be thankful, having been depicted as an arguably superior sex. Francis says female leaders have long been strong role models and have triumphed over their male counterparts in addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. Shaka Wooding reports.
An emerging trend on social media has seen many of the nation's political leaders given extreme makeovers, depicting them as the opposite sex. Members of both political parties have had their photos edited, with noticeable adjustments to their facial features, making them more feminine. Some have been very welcoming to the now viral photos, including SLP candidate for Grosley, Kenson Casimir, who jokingly stated, "I am the true Je Grosley, whether you look at me as Kenson or Kensonia." However, others have taken to the comment section, claiming that this is an attack on the masculinity of the men who have had their photos edited. Talk show host Claudius Francis has tuned in on the matter, claiming that this is simply an act of the political game. However, those attempting to use the feminine depiction as a means of insult need to be schooled on the undeniable success of women in politics.
I find them humorous, and one has to have a sense of humor if one is involved in politics. I don't think one can take issue with certain depictions of politicians, but it also causes me to chuckle, as I said, every time males are depicted as females with a view to demeaning them, because time and again it has been proven that females, women, are in many regards superior to men. Not least of all in politics.
Francis urges persons who have taken a misogynistic stance on the matter to take a look at the success of countries whose COVID-19 response was led by females and then compare that to their male counterparts.
You look at, for example, the countries in the world with the worst cases of COVID-19 as opposed to the countries which has best battled COVID. And you will see in the former, every leader is a male. In the latter, every leader is a female.
Tables have turned since the first release of photos, as we now see images of female political leaders being made into male depictions. First release being a photo of Micoud South MP Gail Rigobert, sporting a full face of facial hair. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
The issue of joblessness has been brought into sharp focus with the turnout of hundreds of job searchers in the south of the island. ITAL BPO, a Jamaican business process outsourcing company which recently expanded its operations to St. Lucia at the Uanora Free Zone, hosted a job fair in the south on Wednesday the 15th of July to recruit employees. The turnout was significant, with many eager to grasp an opportunity for work. A second job fair will be hosted at the Duty Free Complex at Point Seraphin on Friday the 17th of July. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, Carnival to Bangkok and Carnival plans for October. Drivers say they are at their wits' end and demand the go-ahead for a full load of passengers. And supposed party cops are given a stern warning from the police commissioner. That and more coming up after the break.